Hello student, I am Kadambini Balakrishna Patil, teacher in mathematics, presently working with Deccan Education Societies, Willingdon College, Sangli. Okay, we are started with our new topic, that is indefinite integral, in which we are started with our first exercise also. So in the last lecture, we are completed with examples from 3.1. So we left with only one example from exercise 3.1. So that will continue. For that continuation, we'll move towards the PPT. This is the fourth type of example, that is f dash x is already given to you, that is x minus 3 upon x cube. F of one value is given, then find your function fx. Okay, this type of example you are not studied at all in the previous examples. Now look at here, what is given? Given is derivative of the function. So look, what is the derivative of the function? It is given here, f dash of x equal to x minus 3 upon x cube. So that means we need to find fx. How to find fx? As usual, we are using our definition. So what is the definition of indefinite integral? Integration of f dash of x dx is fx plus constant of integration. That means what? Our definition says that it is an antiderivative formula. So whose derivative is that you need to find. So f dash x is the derivative of fx. So that formula we are using here. So this is the derivative. So this gives you the integral value of the given function. That means what? You have to integrate. Simple language says that whatever the fx is given to you, you start integrating it. Okay, so we'll start with that. Look at here. So now we know that fx equal to integral of f dash x. We know means we are using our definition. Okay, so you start with fx equal to integral x minus 3 upon x cube dx. We'll separate the term. So you will get integral x dx minus 3 into integral x raised to minus 3 dx. Look at here. So you are using the formula integral x raised to n dx. What is that formula? That formula says that x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. Okay, so that formula we are using. So here you will get x square upon 2. Here you will get minus 3 plus 1 means this is minus 2. So you will get x raised to minus 2 upon minus 2. And here you need to simplify because you will take this in the denominator. Minus minus becomes plus. So we will write that function. So look at here function x square upon 2 minus 3 into x raised to minus 2 upon minus 2. I told you that you are getting this value plus constant of integration is important. Now this minus minus is plus. So what you will get? You will get here as x square upon 2 plus, look at here, this minus minus is plus 3, and now this x raised to minus 2 goes to the denominator. You will get 2x square plus constant of integration. Okay, now you got the value of fx as f1 is given to you. F1 is given to you. So this is f of 1 value. That means x equal to 1. If you will substitute in your expression, you will get 11 upon 2. Why this value is given? Because we don't want this constant of integration. We want particular function. For that this value is given. So there is no unknown constant. Here you will get fixed constant. So we'll substitute that. So what you will get? Put x equal to 1 in your expression or in your equation 1. You will get this as, look at here, f of 1 equal to half plus 3 by 2. Why? 1 it is, 1 square is 1. So you will get 1 by 2. 3 by 2 as it is. 1 square is again 1. So 1 upon 1 is 3 by 2. So 3 by 2 into 1 means 3 by 2. So 1 half plus 3 by 2 plus constant of integration. But this gives you half plus 1 means 2 is LCM. So you will get 1 plus 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 upon 2 which is equal to 2. So here you got this value 2 plus c. But Already you know what is f of 1. F of 1 is given to you. So f of 1 is 11 upon 2 equal to 2 plus c. Now take this 11 upon 2 minus 2 equal to c. So you are able to solve this. 11 minus 4 upon 2. 11 minus 4 is 7 upon 2, which is your c value. Look at here. So you will get the c value as 7 upon 2. So we need to substitute in our equation 1. So if you will substitute in your equation 1, what you will get? Fx equal to x square upon 2 plus 3 upon 2 x square plus 7 upon 2. Now there is no unknown constant also. So here you got a fixed constant, that function you want. Therefore we are doing this method, that substitution the value of x equal to 1, you will get your proper function. This completes our exercise 3.1. Okay, in exercise 3.1 what we did, we are used the function directly. Means what? Either you are used the trigonometry or you are used your derivative, in which direct functions are there. But this is not possible every time. So there will be the methods to solve the integrals also. That method we'll discuss one by one. But before that we'll start with that we have seen the integrals which can be reduced to standard form. You are reducing them in the standard form to get the values. And by which? So by using algebraic trigonometric simplification. And sometimes we are using algebraic. Algebraic simplification means what? We are using rationalization. Rationalization comes under the algebra. So rationalization, then a minus b, a plus b, or the indices. All these are nothing but you are from the algebra. Trigonometric function simplification means what? You are using the trigonometric identities, and by that identities you are simplifying your function. So by using algebraic and trigonometric simplification, we are converted our integrands into a simple form, so that we will get or will reduce in a standard form and we will get the values. Okay. So now what? Now we are going to study 3 special methods to solve our integrals. So these 3 methods which reduces your integrand into a simple form. This is integral. Integral means when that function inside the integral sign, but whatever the function inside the integral sign is called as integrand. Okay, so that integrand we are able to reduce in our standard form, so that that integral is reduced in the standard form to get the values from the standard form. Okay, so now methods of integration. There are the methods of integration. There are 3 methods which we are going to learn in this chapter. That is the methods of integration, in which we are having method of substitution. Second one is method of integration by parts. Then method of partial fraction, which was not there in your syllabus. Okay, but this is also one of the method, partial fraction method. You are already studied how to use the partial fraction in algebra. In algebra again. So there you are reducing your functions by using the partial fraction. The same thing we are using here to find the partial fraction method. But this year for 2021, this method is not there in the syllabus. Okay, so we'll start with our methods of integration. And in this type of integration, so look at here, there are 3 methods that you have to keep in mind, that you are having 3 methods, but out of that we learn only 2 methods. So in that also, method of substitution is also called as substitution method. Some people may use the word substitution method. Sometimes it is used that method of substitution. So what is the method of substitution? For that we are having a theorem. That theorem we are going to learn here. What is the theorem? Theorem says that if x equal to phi of t is a differentiable function of t, then integral of fx dx equal to integration of f of phi of t phi dash t dt. This type of things you are already used in derivative. Derivative also you are able to solve by substitution method. The same thing we are using, but only in reverse order. And here it is given. It is a differentiable function of t. That means what? For x value, whatever function you are selecting, that function must be such a way that it is a differentiable function of whatever variable you are selecting. Here I have selected t variable. You are able to select any variable here, because sometimes you are having trigonometric function, there you are using theta also. So that's why I am telling you that you are able to use any variable, but for that variable the given function must be differentiable. This is the meaning of the theorem. Okay, so I am using t means it doesn't mean that you have to use t every time. You have to use another variable also. Okay, we'll start with our proof. If x equal to phi of t, it is given, is a differentiable function of t. Means what? We are able to differentiate this. So differentiate with respect to t. You are already learned how to differentiate. That is d by dt of x is equal to d by dt of phi of t. Okay, so phi of t you are able to write as phi dash t. Therefore here it is phi dash of t. Dx upon dt. Here you are having dx upon dt. Okay. So if it is a function of t, therefore dx upon dt equal to phi dash of t. Okay. So we'll start with the next step. Next step says that integral fx dx equal to gx. That means you need to assume the value. So what is your value? Your value says that integral of fx dx equal to g of x. Now there is a substitution. So derivative of reverse way. This gives you your definition of integral. What is the definition of integral? This is nothing but the antiderivative function. So you will get here, if you want to write antiderivative form, so you are able to write d by dx of gx equal to fx. That we are using by our definition. So look at the steps. The first step is, it is given to you that x equal to phi dash t differentiable. If it is given, it is a differential, so find out the derivative. So immediately you are able to find the derivative. Now what? Now you need to start with this way. You start thinking stepwise the function. Now what is integral fx dx? By our formula or our definition says that integral fx dx is gx. Okay. Then we know the definition. What definition says? It is nothing but the antiderivative. So you are able to write that also in terms of derivative. So d by dx of gx equal to fx. What is now next? By chain rule. Chain rule means what? Chain rule you are already studied in the derivative. You need to substitute your x value here. So if you substitute x value here, look at here. D by dt of gx. Now you need a derivative of gx in terms of t. So chain rule says that d by dt of gx equal to d by dx of gx dx upon dt. Dx upon dt value is known to you. That is phi dash of t. Okay, and what is d by dx of gx? D by dx of gx is fx. That we are substituting here. So this is your d by dx value, d by dx of gx, which is equal to fx, and dx by dt, that value you will get from here, which is phi dash of t. Okay, so you will get this function. So now once you will get this function, now look at here the chain rule. Now I will explain here. Here itself, this implies, why this chain rule is implies, you want this derivative in terms of t. Why we want in terms of t? Because we want to change our x in terms of t. It is like x, given function is the function of x and x is function of t. Under phi, this is under f. So this is called as composite function. So we are using a composite. If it is a composite function, then only you are able to use the chain rule. Keep this in mind. Okay. So we'll start with that. So here you will get d by dx of gx. Now we don't want x, we want t. So we'll start with that. That we want the derivative of gx with respect to t. Now we don't have t because we are having x. So we'll write this as d by dx of gx, and this is nothing but dx by dt. It is like product. Okay. So this dx and dx will get cancelled and you will get the d by dt of gx. Okay. Now what is d by dx of gx? That value is here. That is nothing but fx. we'll replace that value, and dx by dt is nothing but phi dash of t. So you will get this as fx phi dash of t. Now again, what is next? You don't want this x, you want that in terms of t. So what you will write? F of, it is given to you, x is phi dash t. So you will get phi dash of t. It is given to you. X is phi dash, phi t. So phi t, phi dash of t. Hence this step is. Look at here. This step gives you d by dt of gx equal to f of phi of t, phi dash of t. Okay. But what is d by dt of gx? That value will enter here. So that is nothing but by the definition of integration. Definition of integration. What definition of integration says? That antiderivative. So gx you will keep as it is and it goes to here. Means what? By definition, this is here d by dt of, finally you got as d by dt of gx is equal to f of phi of t into phi dash of t. Okay, so here you are using your definition of integration. So g of x equal to integral, because that is your definition, integral f of phi of t into phi dash of t dt. Okay, so but what is gx? Here it is in the definition. Definition says that from 1, this gx is nothing but integral f of x dx. Okay, so now you got your theorem as integral fx dx equal to integral of f of phi t, phi dash t dt. This is the definition. Okay, so we'll start with that. So by definition of integration, you will get this as gx equal to integral, because you are using two ends, these two. You will get gx equal to integral f of phi t, phi dash t dt. And what is the value of gx? From 1, you will get the value of gx. So gx gives you, that is integral fx dx equal to integral of f of phi t into phi dash t dt. This is from 1. 1 is here, that is gx equal to integral fx dx. This is nothing but the definition, by using the definition of integration. Okay, so this is all about the theorem. Some important result based on this substitution. This some important result means you are having the corollaries. What are the corollaries here? One by one. So first corollary is given to you. If integral fx dx equal to gx plus constant of integration, then what will happen? You are using this identity. Okay, that we are using by using the derivative. Now we'll use this by using the substitution. So you are able to use this directly. Integral of f of ax plus b dx equal to 1 upon a g of ax plus b plus constant of integration. We'll solve this corollary by using substitution method. So now we'll start with integral f of ax plus b gx. Substitute ax plus b equal to t. So if you'll substitute ax plus b equal to t, what you will get? Differentiating. Differentiating, you will get this as a into, here you are having a into dx is equal to dt, because x derivative, a derivative, it is a multiplication. So a into dx plus constant derivative is 0. That side you will get dt. So a dx equal to dt, but dx is equal to 1 upon a dt. Okay, this is a change in increment in t, and this is increment in x. So corresponding increment in t is dt. So you will get dx equal to 1 upon a dt. That will substitute here. So what will be our next step? Differentiating, you will get a equal to dt by x. So dx equal to 1 upon a dt. That substitution is in your integration. So integral ft dt upon a. So 1 upon a is constant. You are able to take outside the integral sign. So 1 upon a integral ft dt. Okay. So now this is ft dt. Here you are having variable change only. Here in place of x you are having t. So immediately you are able to write. Look at here. This gives you integral of ft dt. So t is only change, single change is there. So you will get here gt plus c. So here you will get gt plus constant of integration. So that is nothing but here you will get 1 upon a gt plus constant of integration. But t, you have to replace the value of t. Because final answer again you want in terms of x only. So you will get 1 upon a g of ax plus b plus constant of integration. This is your corollary 1. Now we will move towards the corollary 2. Here this one is your final answer, or you can say the final result from your substitution method. Okay, now we are here for the corollary 2. What is the corollary 2? That is integral of f dash of x upon fx dx is log of mod of fx plus constant of integration. What type of corollary is this? This type of corollary is every time when it is numerator upon denominator is given, try to think that whether numerator is the derivative of the denominator. So this is like derivative of denominator upon denominator. Then this type of examples for how to solve that, immediately you will get the value of log. You know that this is nothing but f dash x upon fx. We will see that how to use the substitution over here. So we will begin with our example. We will start with it. So look at here. What is given? Given is I equal to integral f dash x upon fx dx. Now substitute, as usual we are dealing with the substitution method. So what you need to substitute? You need to substitute fx equal to t. So now we'll enter that. So what is that? Put fx equal to t. If you will substitute fx equal to t, differentiating, what you will get? Differentiating, you will get f dash of x dx equal to dt, because you are differentiating both the sides. Differentiating both the sides of the equation. What you will get? Sides of equation. What you will get here? Derivative of fx is f dash x, and as here it's x, you will get dx. This side you will get dt. Hence therefore f dash x dx equal to dt. That is your next step. Okay, after now you are getting all these things, you know that you are having here f dash of x dx. So in place of f dash of x dx, you are able to write dt, and fx you are able to write as t. So that will substitute here. So your I becomes only simple one, dt upon t. As usual, you know that 1 upon t is the derivative of log of mod t. So immediately you are able to write log of mod t plus constant of integration. And in substitution method, you always keep in mind that whatever may be the substitutions you are doing, final answer must be in your whatever the variables are given to you. So again you need to resubstitute the value, whatever the value for the t is substituted. So again you will get your final answer as integration of f dash x upon fx dx equal to log of mod of fx. Look at here. T value is substituted plus constant of integration. This completes your corollary 2. We'll start with our corollary 3. Now look at here corollary 3. Integration of fx raised to n f dash of x dx equal to fx raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. This is the power of complete fx. Fx raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. Means what? Whenever there is an integral, you start thinking, is there the combination of a functions in such a way that whatever may be the power, but whatever inside function, its derivative is here. If it is there, that means here you are having some any other function, suppose 5. So you will get here as 5. Then here you will have the phi dash. And whatever may be the variable, its derivative. If this type kind of function will be there, immediately you have to add, it is like you are using x raised to n formula. X raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. Okay, but this is you are able to use in terms of function only. So we'll begin with our corollary. So we'll start with the proof of the corollary. Let I equal to fx, means this complete bracket raised to n, f dash of x. This is a bracket over here. Look at here. This is a bracket because it's the power of complete function. So fx raised to n, f dash of x dx. Now substitute. What you have to substitute? Fx dx equal to dt. What you have to substitute? You have to substitute as fx equal to t. Okay. Fx equal to t if you substitute, therefore f dash of x dx equal to dt by differentiating. So fx equal to t means you take this function that is equal to t, therefore f dash of x dx equal to dt. What is next? Next is nothing but integral. Now look at here. Fx is t means this becomes t raised to n, and this complete f dash x dx becomes dt. So finally you will get this as integral t raised to n dt. So this is equal to t raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. And now replace the value. So you will get this as fx raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. So what will be your final answer? Finally, we say that this is our corollary. Integration of fx raised to n, f dash of x dx equal to fx raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant of integration. This is about the corollary 3. Now next is corollary 4. What is that? Integration of f dash x upon root of fx dx is equal to 2 root fx plus constant of integration. Now again, you have to start thinking that whatever inside the root sign in the denominator, its derivative will be on the numerator. Then only this is possible that you are using corollary 4. So here we need to substitute. Again, as usual, this is your integration is given. We are using, these are the corollary of our theorem. And there are the corollaries, means it is based on our theorem which is on the substitution. So here also we need to do the substitution. So what is our substitution? Substitution says that fx equal to t. Differentiating both the sides, what you will get? You will get this as f dash of x dx equal to dt. Okay, now f dash of x dx equal to dt, that means complete numerator becomes dt. So f dash of x dx equal to dt, by substitution your integration becomes, what it becomes? I equal to integration of 1 upon root t dt. So now once if you know 1 upon root t, you know the adjustments. What are your adjustments? Your adjustments are I equal to, now I equal to 2 into integral 1 upon 2 root t dt. So now this is nothing but whose derivative is 1 upon 2 root t, that is nothing but the derivative of root t. So you will get this as, by formula only, you will get this as 2 root t plus constant of integration, because 2 is already there and this value is nothing but root t plus constant of integration. Now replace the value of t. What is the value of t? That is fx. 2 root fx plus constant of integration. So what will be your corollary? Your corollary says that integration of f dash of x upon root fx dx equal to 2 root fx plus constant of integration. Okay, so we have seen the corollary 1, 2, 3 and 4 based on the substitution method. In all these corollaries, we are using the substitution for complete function, and the same method is used here. So we'll stop here, we'll continue in the next lecture. We are started in this lecture with exercise 3.1 of the last type, that is 4th type, and there was only one example of that kind. Then we are started with the theoretical part, that is nothing but already we are used the substitution method, but we don't know the name of the method. So there are many methods to find out of which we saw one theorem which is based on the substitution method and a corollary based on that. For the remaining part, we'll continue in the next lecture. For this lecture, thank you.